Have you ever noticed how some people seem to stumble into success at every turn while you trip over a crack in the sidewalk and somehow end up in the emergency room? Your neighbor flips a few stocks and upgrades to a bigger house while every single investment you touch immediately tanks, and your kids seem talented at everything in life except the one thing that actually pays the bills. In moments like these, you gulp down a glass of cold water, stare at the ceiling, and mutter to yourself, "Why am I so unlucky? What did I do to deserve this kind of life? Why does everything I touch turn to dust while other people are out here catching golden opportunities like they are falling from the sky?" But here is the truth that most people never hear and even fewer are willing to accept. Luck is not some mystical force handed down by the universe to a chosen few. When you look at it through the lens of cognitive psychology, luck is nothing more than the calculated outcome of probability and behavior patterns. People who are perpetually unlucky are not cursed by fate. They are simply repeating the exact behaviors that guarantee bad outcomes over and over again without ever realizing it. Meanwhile, the people you think of as lucky, the ones who always seem to land on their feet, they have woven a tight psychological net that catches opportunity the moment it drifts anywhere near them. This is not a feel-good motivational speech designed to make you smile for 5 minutes and then forget everything. This is a life correction blueprint meant to realign the crooked framework of habits and beliefs that have been keeping you stuck in a cycle of misfortune for years or maybe even decades. By the time you reach the end of this, you will understand exactly how to break that exhausting chain of bad luck and start pulling genuine fortune into your daily life beginning today. Let us start with one of the most chilling experiments in the history of behavioral psychology. B.F. Skinner, the founding father of behaviorism, once placed 8 hungry pigeons inside individual boxes and set up a mechanism that dispensed food pellets every 15 seconds completely at random. It did not matter what the pigeons were doing. The food came regardless of their actions. But here is where things got deeply strange. The pigeons began developing bizarre rituals. One bird started spinning counterclockwise in tight circles. Another repeatedly shoved its head into the corner of the box and bobbed up and down. A third flapped its left wing over and over as if performing some kind of sacred dance. Why did they do this? Because each pigeon had made a false connection in its brain. The one that happened to be turning its head when food appeared concluded that turning its head caused the food to come, so it kept turning its head with increasing desperation. The one that had been bobbing decided bobbing was the magic key. Skinner called this superstitious behavior, and he noted that it is not limited to birds. Human beings do this constantly, and it is one of the primary reasons so many people remain trapped in cycles of poverty and bad luck for their entire lives. Think about a guy like Steve, a 52-year-old small business owner in Ohio who runs a struggling sandwich shop. Every time sales drop, Steve does not analyze his menu, update his marketing, or even clean the front of his store. Instead, he drives 40 minutes to see a psychic who charges him $150 per session. The psychic tells him to move his cash register to face east. So Steve rearranges his entire counter. She tells him to wear a green bracelet for prosperity, so he buys one and never takes it off. His wife Sarah comes home from her nursing shift exhausted and says, "Steve, honey, can you please just power wash the front sidewalk? There is literally mold growing on it and customers do not want to walk through that to get a sandwich." Steve fires back with, "You do not understand. This is about aligning my energy. This is about opening the channel for abundance to flow in." Meanwhile, the sandwich shop next door, run by a 28-year-old kid who has never seen a psychic in his life, is thriving because that kid spends his mornings wiping down tables, memorizing regular customers' names, and testing a new special every single week. This is the defining characteristic of people trapped in chronic bad luck. They pour all of their energy and faith into things they cannot control while completely ignoring the things they absolutely can control. They are Skinner's pigeons spinning in circles waiting for the universe to drop a pellet into their box. The truly fortunate people in this world do not waste money on psychics or lucky charms. They build daily routines so consistent and so focused on improvement that good outcomes become statistically inevitable. Luck is not a lottery ticket falling from heaven. It is the simple math of throwing your dice so many times that eventually one of those throws lands on 6. The more times you throw, the more 6s you get. The more you sit in your box spinning in circles, the more you starve. Now let us talk about something that affects nearly every American household, and yet almost nobody discusses it honestly. Why is your bank account always running on empty even when you technically earn enough to live comfortably? The answer lies in what psychologists call mental accounting. Our brains do not treat all money equally. We assign emotional weight to dollars based on how we receive them, how we label them, and what story we attach to them. When money has no clear purpose or identity in your mind, your brain categorizes it as disposable surplus, as something that can vanish without real consequence. Consider Benjamin Franklin, a man who started life as a broke printer's apprentice with barely $1 to his name. Franklin did not become one of the wealthiest and most influential men in American history by accident. He gave every single dollar a specific job. This portion is for expanding my skills. This portion is for securing my old age. This portion is for investing in tomorrow's opportunity. By naming his money, he made it psychologically impossible to waste it on impulse. Now think about Karen, a 53-year-old suburban mom in New Jersey. Karen will drive 20 minutes to a different grocery store to save $2 on a pack of chicken thighs. She clips coupons religiously. She argues with her husband about the electricity bill. But on a bad day, when the kids are stressing her out and she feels emotionally empty, Karen walks into a department store and drops $800 on a designer coat without blinking. Her husband Mike comes home and stares at the shopping bag in disbelief. Karen, you yelled at me last week for buying name-brand cereal, and now you spent $800 on a coat you are going to wear twice. Karen does not even flinch. She says, "You do not understand. The kids are driving me insane. You are never home. I deserve something nice for once. This is my reward for putting up with all of it." This is exactly how luck leaks out of people's lives like water through a cracked bucket. When your money has no name, no purpose, no identity, your brain defaults to using it as emotional medicine. You spend to fill a void rather than to build a future. And every dollar you spend impulsively on emotional comfort is a dollar that cannot compound into opportunity later. People who attract luck treat even their smallest amounts of money with deep respect. They say, "This $50 is the seed of my family's next vacation. This $100 is the foundation of my emergency fund that will keep me calm when life throws a curveball." Money with a name never betrays its owner. It grows quietly in the background, and when the right opportunity appears, it is ready. Money without a name evaporates into lattes and impulse buys and monthly subscriptions you forgot you signed up for, and when opportunity knocks, you have nothing to answer the door with. Give your money a name today. Open a separate savings account and call it something that makes your heart beat faster. My freedom fund. My children's future. My second chance. Watch how differently you treat that money once it has an identity. Now let us move into the third and perhaps most powerful factor in determining whether luck flows toward you or away from you, and that is the environment you place yourself in every single day. Dr. Nicholas Christakis at Harvard conducted a groundbreaking study on what he called social contagion theory. His research demonstrated that if the people immediately around you are happy, your own probability of being happy increases by 15%. And here is the truly mind-blowing part. Even if your friend's friend, someone you may have never met, is happy, your probability of happiness still increases by 10%. Emotions, attitudes, and yes, even luck spread through social networks like a virus. They are literally contagious. So what does this mean for your daily life? Think about the average American in their 40s or 50s who goes to a weekly meetup with old friends. Picture a guy named Tom, 56 years old, sitting at a bar in Cleveland with 3 buddies from college. One friend starts the conversation with a heavy sigh. "Man, the economy is brutal right now. My kid cannot find a job anywhere. He has been applying for 6 months and nothing. Meanwhile, my neighbor's son just got hired at Google straight out of college. Life is so unfair." The second friend jumps in. "Tell me about it. My 401k lost 30% last year. Guys like us never catch a break. We were born to struggle." Then there is a third friend, Dave, who tries to shift the energy. "Hey guys, I actually started going to the gym last month and I have been feeling a lot better. Lost 10 pounds, sleeping better. My back does not hurt anymore." The table goes silent for a moment and then the first 2 friends pounce. "Oh, look at Dave over here, Mr. Positive. Must be nice to have time for the gym when some of us are working 60 hours a week just to keep the lights on." "Yeah, Dave, save your TED Talk for someone who cares. Just drink your beer and stop making us feel bad." This is what psychologists call the crab bucket effect. If you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, none of them will ever escape because the moment one starts climbing toward the rim, the others reach up and pull it back down. Not because they are evil, but because the sight of one crab escaping makes the others feel worse about their own situation, so they instinctively drag it back to their level. People stuck in chronic bad luck do the exact same thing to each other. Misery does not just love company, it demands it. When you are surrounded by people whose default mode is complaining, blaming, and dismissing any sign of hope, your brain absorbs that energy whether you want it to or not. Your neural pathways literally rewire themselves to match the dominant emotional frequency of your social environment. Tom went home that night and for the first time in years, he really thought about who he was spending his time with. He realized that every single Thursday night at that bar left him feeling heavier, more hopeless, and more convinced that life was rigged against him. So he made a decision that felt uncomfortable but turned out to be transformative. He started declining the weekly bar invitations. Not with anger, not with judgment, just quietly. Instead, he joined a local hiking group. He signed up for a community business workshop at the library. He started attending a monthly book club focused on personal development. At first, it felt awkward. These new people were strangers, and their relentless optimism almost irritated him. But week after week, something shifted. The people in these new groups said things like, "You have got this, Tom," and "That is a really smart observation," and "Hey, if you ever need help with that project, I know a guy." These small words of encouragement accumulated in Tom's subconscious like deposits in a bank. His brain started interpreting the world differently. Where he used to see obstacles, he began noticing openings. Where he used to see competition, he started recognizing potential allies. 7 months later, a woman from his hiking group mentioned that her company was looking for someone with exactly Tom's experience. He applied, interviewed, and got the job. A better job than anything he had held in the previous decade. Was that luck? In the superficial sense, yes. But in the deeper psychological sense, it was the inevitable result of placing himself in an environment where positive contagion could reach him. He did not get lucky. He moved himself to where luck was already circulating and he let it infect him. This brings us to the most critical psychological truth of all, the one that ties everything together. Most people believe that happiness is what happens after you succeed. You get the promotion and then you feel good. You win the money and then you are happy. You find the relationship and then you experience joy. But positive psychology research led by Martin Seligman and later expanded by Shawn Achor has proven the exact opposite. Happiness is not the result of success. Happiness is the fuel that makes success possible in the first place. When your brain is in a positive state, your cognitive range expands by over 300%. You literally see more options, recognize more patterns, and connect more dots than when you are in a negative or neutral state. A happy brain is more creative, more resilient, more socially magnetic, and dramatically better at identifying opportunities that a depressed brain would completely miss even if those opportunities were standing right in front of it waving a giant flag. Think about Abraham Lincoln. This is a man who failed in business twice, lost 8 elections, suffered a complete nervous breakdown, and lost multiple children. By any normal standard, his life was a catalog of misfortune that would crush most people into permanent despair. But Lincoln had a psychological weapon that kept him going through every single disaster. He maintained his sense of humor. After losing yet another election, he told his supporters the path was slippery, but at least there was no cliff. That ability to find lightness in darkness, to crack a joke when most people would crack under pressure, kept his brain in a state where it could continue to function at a high level, continue to spot the next opportunity, and continue to move forward when everything in his environment screamed at him to quit. That emotional fuel eventually carried him all the way to the presidency of the United States and into the history books as one of the greatest leaders humanity has ever produced. His luck was not random. It was manufactured by a brain that refused to shut down no matter how many times life hit it. So here is what you need to do starting today, right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not after the holidays, today. First, you need to kill the pigeon behavior. Stop spinning in circles waiting for the universe to reward you for doing nothing useful. Build a routine that you control completely. Start absurdly small if you need to. Make your bed every single morning. That one action takes 10 seconds, but it sends a powerful signal to your brain that says, I am a person who takes control of my environment. From that tiny seed of control, larger habits will grow naturally. You will start cleaning your workspace, then organizing your schedule, then tackling projects you have been avoiding, and each small win reinforces the neural pathway that says I create my own outcomes. Luck follows people who demonstrate control over their lives because control creates consistency, consistency creates visibility, and visibility creates opportunity. Second, you need to name your money immediately. Open your banking app right now and rename your accounts. Do not leave them as checking and savings like some generic placeholder. Give them names that connect to your deepest values and your biggest dreams. Call one account my family's freedom. Call another the foundation of my next chapter. Call a third my emergency armor. When you look at your money and see a name that means something to you, your brain physically cannot treat it as disposable anymore. It becomes sacred. It becomes protected. And protected money grows while unnamed money evaporates. Third, and perhaps most importantly, you need to audit your social environment with brutal honesty. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Next to each name, write how you feel after spending an hour with that person. If the answer is drained or hopeless or frustrated for more than 2 of those 5 people, you have identified the leak in your luck. You do not need to cut these people out of your life with cruelty or drama. But you absolutely need to reduce your exposure and simultaneously increase your time around people who make you feel capable, hopeful, and energized. Join a group, attend a class, volunteer somewhere. Find a community where the default emotional frequency is growth rather than complaint. Your luck will shift faster than you can imagine because you are not actually changing your luck. You are changing the soil you are planted in, and different soil produces different fruit. The luck you experience in the second half of your life is not determined by your parents or your past or the stars or some cosmic force you cannot see. It is determined by what you see when you look in the mirror each morning, by the words you choose to speak out loud, by the routines you build and protect, by the names you give your money, and by the people you allow to stand close enough to influence your thinking. If you have made it all the way to the end of this, you have already demonstrated something that 99% of people lack, which is the willingness to invest your time and attention into understanding yourself at a deeper level. That single quality, that willingness to examine your own patterns and consider changing them, is the most reliable predictor of future success that psychology has ever identified. So here is your final assignment. Say this out loud right now wherever you are. I am someone whose luck is changing starting today. It might feel silly. It might feel like you are talking to an empty room. But the moment those words leave your mouth, your subconscious mind registers them as a command and begins scanning your environment for evidence that they are true. That is not mysticism. That is the reticular activating system in your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do, which is filter reality to match your declared beliefs. Declare better beliefs and watch reality reorganize itself around you. Share this with someone you care about who has been struggling. The act of giving useful knowledge to another person does something extraordinary to your own psychology. It tells your brain, I am someone with enough abundance to give things away, and a brain that believes it lives in abundance attracts more abundance. That is not a law of attraction fantasy. That is basic cognitive framing backed by decades of research. The person who hoards knowledge stays small. The person who shares it grows beyond anything they thought possible. Your luck is not broken. It never was. You were simply running patterns that guaranteed unlucky outcomes, and now you know how to install new ones. Today is the day everything shifts.